All right, we're excited to get started. We have some people in the lobby that we are letting in, and then we're going to get started. Today, we are talking all about digital marketing trends that we're seeing in the energy sectors in 2026. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brittany Castellaw. I'm the owner of Backstage Energy Marketing. We're a specialized energy digital marketing agency based in the Houston, Texas area. And I'm excited to dive in. This is going to be interactive. There's a chat area in Teams. Have that opened because if you have a question at any point during our webinar, please feel free to ask that question. And then at the end, I'll be able to answer those questions for you. So we are going to dive in. So first and foremost, we're going to do a little reality check. We know that energy companies are behind. All of us sitting on this webinar or even watching the recap of the webinar, we know that they're behind when it comes to digital marketing. But I want you to really pivot your mindset and look at this as an opportunity because it truly is. As an industry, everyone is traditionally behind because back in the day, decisions were made differently and there wasn't a huge need to be online, right? You were able to build a business over decades and drive revenue without having to do a lot of digital marketing. And so what we're seeing is a shift in buyer behavior. And this is why we're seeing a huge influx and a huge need of the energy market to say, okay, it's time to go online. It's time to put our brand online. How do we do that? Today's buyers, they've changed. Our behavior has changed. We as humans, we are online humans, right? We're researching online. We're looking up vendors and possible people to work with online. And so it's important that we as energy companies pivot our strategies in order to pivot this and put our brand right in front of them. So we also see a shift in generations. We have generations retiring from this industry, and we have new generations moving into these executive roles and these decision maker roles that are doing business differently, right? Data tells us that 70% of the purchasing decision is made online before your buyers, your prospects ever talk to your sales team. That is a huge part of the sales cycle that you don't have control of unless you're online. We're going to talk about what we're seeing in 2026. I can't give a trends webinar without talking about AI. So AI is huge, right? And it's really becoming marketing infrastructure. Now, AI is not replacing marketing teams. It's not replacing strategies. And I am making sure that you understand where I'm coming from. AI is all about making your team more efficient and being more effective. So if your strategy is terrible, it's going to make you fail faster, right? Because it's all about making things quicker. But the energy companies that are doing well and integrating AI in a great way, they're the ones who are accelerating content creation. They're scaling this expertise and utilizing AI functionalities in order to build their brand and really position themselves ahead of the competition. So how do we do this? Like, what can we do when it comes to integrating AI into marketing in our companies? First and foremost, here's a really cool example. If you're in the marketing department or you handle marketing for your company, you could schedule a 30-minute chat with maybe the director of engineering or product manager or something like that, some technical lead on your team. Okay, have a list of questions that you want to chat about. Go into that room and turn your phone on. Turn it on to record the audio or even turn it on as the video to record it, okay? Because you're about to get a huge dump of technical knowledge. And us marketers, we now have to sift through that technical jargon and say, okay, how can we position this online? Well, then you can take that transcript, upload it into Claude or upload it into ChatGPT and say, I need you to take this content. Here's the strategy we put together. Now create me some social media content. You can take it a step further to even build bigger pieces of content with this 30-minute quick conversation that you had in order to get a download of technical information from your team. Okay, so it's all about improving speed and consistency without replacing real-world experience. Again, your buyer behavior has changed. They also can read right through AI content. So make sure you're really decommoditizing what you're doing and showing your value and your expertise when using AI. Trend number 2, first-party data. Okay, so energy companies, I got to give it to you guys. Y'all do a great job when it comes to your first party data. Sales teams have input their leads, their prospects, their customers into a CRM like Salesforce or Dynamics. But there's not really been a great connection with marketing. So this is your competitive advantage online. But how do you do that? Right? You have all of this relationship data, but you're not really using it strategically. It's really just your sales team's Rolodex. All right. So this is how you're going to use it in 2026. First and foremost, integrate it into your paid ad campaigns like your LinkedIn ads or even your Google ads. What this means is you would download maybe a list of a couple of hundred of recent customers, people that have purchased from you, to create custom and lookalike audiences. Okay, LinkedIn ads, I want to find people that look exactly like the people who signed a $500,000 deal with our company, right? And then you create a campaign around this lookalike audience. You can also use your trade show list, right? You've spent energy, time, resources, marketing budgets on going to these trade shows. You have a trade show list. They didn't convert. Use that list to create paid advertising campaigns to put your message in front of those attendees. At the same time, you can create a lookalike audience to target people that look exactly like the attendees of that trade show. So again, your first party data, you're ahead of the game when it comes to online marketing because we're not having to say, okay, let's build a list. You have a list. Now it's just about creating the automations, creating the integrations in order to really make it strategic for your business and not just a Rolodex. Trend number 3, LinkedIn is the new industry trade show. I cannot tell you how beneficial LinkedIn is to your brand. But you have to treat it like a trade show, right? So you go to a trade show, what are you doing? You're getting coffee, you're shooting the bull, you're going to the cocktail hour, you're asking about the Rockets game, you're trying to find some kind of connection to where, oh yeah, I worked with Cody at 2 years ago, and you know Cody, and you have a mutual connection and found common ground, right? The same is true on LinkedIn. Build relationships. That's all people are looking for. Our buyers, their behavior has changed and they're looking for authenticity. So what's working, right? Traditional trade publications, they're not really reading them, but they're on LinkedIn. And 9 times out of 10, you can reach them on LinkedIn because their admin or their assistant is managing their email inbox, but they're managing their LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a huge win for energy brands in 2026. Again, your prospects, your buyers, they are forming opinions before they're ever reaching out. Okay. So 70% of that sales cycle is done, and you want to ensure that you're in front of them and you're even in the race. So LinkedIn is a huge win. Here's what to do on LinkedIn. Your executives, people want to see the people behind the brand. If they're open to being on camera, create some video production so that you can get some content out of your executive team. Create educational content. Create project happenings, case studies, what's happening in the field. Show what you're doing on LinkedIn and connect with people. Again, just like you would on the trade show floor, but do it using LinkedIn. Think of LinkedIn as that first handshake, and it works. I want to preface this by it's always about consistency. So it's not about, hey, what's going to go viral, what's going to give me 20 million impressions. It's not about that. It's about consistency because people are watching. Again, buyer behavior. They're not going to like all of your content, but they are watching. And when they need you and they're going through that process of selecting vendors, selecting partners, they're going to remember you because you've been consistent on their feed every single week. Trend 4. We talked a lot about video in digital marketing, but here's the deal. It's really no longer optional. And let me tell you why. We as human beings take the B2B space out of it. We as humans, we want video content, right? In the evenings, we're watching Netflix, we're watching Prime. If we have a question on how to do something, how to fix something around the house, right? We're on YouTube, we're looking at video content. Our kids, our family, like everybody's watching video. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. We are consuming video content in our everyday lives. And so you want to play into that buyer behavior as your brand. All right. We want clarity as humans, and that does not change just in the B2B space. So short, authentic video is really what's going to reduce the friction, okay, in that 70% journey that we're talking about. By having that video, you're pulling that prospect through your sales funnel so that when they get to talk to sales, they're ready, and it's really making these short. It shortens the sales cycle, right? So what kind of videos work? Technical explainers, right? You compare what I talked about AI and meeting with your engineering manager with this trend of getting more video, right? There's a video AI software. You can take that audio, download it, upload a transcript, create an entire video piece of content in order to capture what it is that you're strategically trying to do online. Project walkthroughs. People love to see what you're doing. Okay, so if you have a logistics company and you are moving something that's really cool, like post about it, put it on there, make a video. If you have to hire a video team, a video production company can come out and take content in a half day and get you content for several weeks when it comes to your online marketing channels. Again, it's all about being authentic. Okay, so it's not always production, it's mostly authentic. And I cannot tell you how many times an iPhone video will perform better and outperform a huge produced video campaign. So don't worry if you're going to use your video on your phone. Trend number 5, let's talk about search. If you know me, I love search. I love SEO. This is all about ranking your website organically in search results. Decades ago, you could optimize a page for a keyword, make sure it's on the front, make sure it's sprinkled through the content, it's on the back end, it's on the alt image tags, and those things are still important, but here's what's shifting. It's all about authority. Okay, so when we work with a client, we're putting together pillars of content around subjects. Okay, we're also creating clusters of content that drive towards that pillar in order to build authority. All right, because again, we are living in this world of AI. We can tell AI to draft us a 500-word blog and it's going to make something and you're going to put it on your website. But quite frankly, it's not going to be deep enough. It's not going to drive authority. Again, your technical project managers, your technical leads, your engineering managers, that's what builds authority. So getting that information in one form or fashion in order to create content for your online channels is really where you're going to see this position your brand above those in your competition. Okay, so it's not about generic content. It's not about a lot of content, right? Fewer posts, fewer pieces of content on your website are going to perform better as long as they have better insights and they have more depth to that piece of content. And then last on this is clarity, right? We are talking about technical, very technical industries, but you still need to be very clear when you are looking for, you want to be very clear on your site, right? I can't tell you how many times I go onto a website for an energy prospect and I'm like, what do they do? And then we meet and I'm like, what do you do? And they still can't tell me. Being clear is so important when it comes to building authority online. Trend 6, marketing attribution. We live in a multi-attribution world when it comes to online marketing, okay? So first and foremost, leadership teams are expecting marketing to connect to revenue. And you as a marketing team, or if you own marketing in your company, you want to also be able to tie it to revenue. Hey, we got a lead from LinkedIn. Oh, and it generated a $500,000 proposal. Oh, and 3 months later, it closed. That's huge. That's a huge win. Not only is that a win, but it tells you, the marketer, saying, okay, that channel is working. Let's put more money there. Let's put more energy there, more of our resources there. Multi-touch attribution is so important. But connecting your first party data in your CRM to your marketing channels is really pivotal in order to track all of these elements from an attribution standpoint. Last but not least is brand positioning. Again, this is the differentiator, right? So you don't want to sound like everyone else out there. You want to be different and you want to stand out. The thing when online marketing, when it comes to the energy industry, is that most brands have a great brand and they've built it for decades, but online, they don't exist. Or if they exist, you can't find them, which means you're not even in the race when your buyers are looking for your products and services. So it's very important that you start positioning your brand online now, because it's going to take time, right? You got to build authority. in order to rank online. You have to build authority on social. You have to have a content strategy that really builds towards positioning your brand online. The goal here is all about shortening these long buy cycles. Okay, your sales cycle is long, several months, sometimes over a year. If marketing does a good job, when that buyer or that prospect gets in front of your sales team, they're ready to sign. They trust you. They have taken in your content. They have said, okay, yep, this is the one I want to go with. And sales just has to get them to sign the dotted line. Okay, so positioning is so important and can really be beneficial when it comes to online marketing in 2026. So that was a lot, right? That was a lot of trends. And you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, I've got to, be on AI. I've got to schedule meetings with my technical leads. I've got to get some field footage. Like, it's a lot. This isn't about doing everything, okay? It's about doing marketing right for your brand. The way that you do that is say, what are my goals for 2026? Are we increasing revenue by 30%? Are we gearing up to launch a new location? Are we targeting new services? Are we launching, a new team? Are we increasing capacity? Like, what are those that we're doing? And then tie your marketing strategies to that, because it's always going to be different. And the investment that you make in online marketing is going to be directly tied to your business objectives. Where to start? I'm going to tell you, start with positioning. It's going to take the longest to get ramped up. It's going to take the longest to build authority. But the sooner that you can start positioning your brand online, the quicker you are going to see results, especially on the sales side, to get your buyers and your prospects over the hump and to work with you as, signing agreements and things like that. Again, progress beats perfection. Think of that iPhone versus the huge produced video that we talked about earlier, right? Progress over perfection, and consistency and authenticity is what matters. If you'd like, Michaela's going to drop my calendar link in the chat. If you have questions about 2026, we can jump on a 15-minute call. We can walk through what you have going on and go from there. This is not a pitch, nothing like that. Just happy to help work with you guys and figure out what that looks like. So that is the end of our webinar. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those now. I think we had a couple. Let's see. LinkedIn tone. Yeah, so those are really good questions. When it comes to like your tone of voice on social media, one of the questions we ask when we onboard an energy client is, what is your tone of voice as a brand? A lot of times they don't know. So you want to be authentic, right? You want people to connect with you, that know that you're real people, that you're real people doing business, right? So keep it authentic. Sometimes edgy works if that's part of your brand. Professional, right? You're in a very technical market. And so making sure that you're showing that technical expertise is also beneficial from a tone of voice. Hope that helps answer that question. Cell phone content that feels genuinely human and organic without losing polish or looking unprofessional. Yep, that's a good question. So a couple of ways to do that. I would start small, right? So think of your cell phone footage as B-roll. So don't necessarily try to get audio at the first. So if you have, again, that logistics company that's taking a huge project, maybe they're building an LNG plant, they're transferring parts of it, right? Take the B-roll on your phone of the truck and the trailer driving, right? Super simple. Posting something like that at first is a win. And then build upon that. You might say, hey, I need an editor. Like, an editor can absolutely take cell phone footage and make it magic. So I would start small. I would not tackle audio first because you will need more equipment. And then I would even look at hiring an editor or an agency to help polish some of those video pieces of content on your cell phone. Awesome. I think that is everything. So thanks so much for joining us today. And we have another webinar coming up in February. So be sure to check out our LinkedIn page. You will get a recap of the slides as well as a video of our webinar today to reference. And we're so grateful that you joined us today. Thanks so much.